what we think. It's the only thing we can control. And so we have a choice every minute of every day. What are we going to put in to our thoughts? And I'm reminded of the verse in Philippians 4, where it says, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, whatever is right, think about these things. And the peace of God that transcends all understanding will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. So think about those pure, lovely, admirable, good, true things.
But I had to learn to keep telling myself, stop beating yourself up. Kids are resilient, forgiving, and resourceful, and tomorrow is another day.
Well, I would definitely give yourself some grace. That is the biggest thing. And it is, I think, the hardest thing, that when we make mistakes, I have in the past been my biggest just self-condemnation has just rained down over me, and beat myself up, and then I'm good to anyone. So learning to give myself some grace, allowing for times, I think especially in this kind of a time, allowing for grief, allowing for us to take a pause and be able to acknowledge that times are a little bit scary. Things are different. We've never faced these things before. We've never been in this situation. And I think everyone is probably heightened right now. They're a little on edge, I know in our family, everyone's just a little maybe irritable. And if we can pause and just even allow ourselves a little bit of time to look at that and have a little bit of grief and be able to take 5 minutes, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and feel that emotion, feel when something rises up in us, to allow ourselves to just feel it. And the feeling will pass. It passes, in about 60 seconds or so, those emotions will rise and they'll fall and they'll hit the beach, if it's like a wave. A lot of times I think that we think that if we feel some emotion, if we let that out, that it's going to overtake us. And it really isn't going to. We just need to give it some time.
I know that being a teacher, that my tendency is to schedule. And I have to take a step back, and I've had to learn flexibility. Today, my son comes in and he had set his alarm, but then he accidentally turned it off instead of snoozing it. And he was a little upset that he missed his alarm for our scheduled breakfast. And I told him, if you're tired, go back to sleep. And so he did. And that allowed me actually to have some of my time that I needed. So being flexible with each other, I think, allows us to have that space. I know that mentally, I am a person that has to have some quiet downtime separate from everybody else. If I am needed so much, then that can wear on me. So having that separation, even if it's just getting up a little bit earlier than your kids, so that you have that quiet time to sit and think about your day and maybe process through some of those emotions like Holly was saying. I think that's important.
When you're in the middle of total chaos, just sit back, take a breath in, and think of yourself breathing in peace, and breathe out your anxiety and whatever you're worried about.
There's a few things that I will do just to kind of ground myself. And one of them is simply just sitting and putting my feet on the floor and just really feeling my feet on the ground and being able to know that I'm here, I'm present, everything is okay. And you can name some objects, and you can do these things with your kids too. You can have them, ask them, name 7 or 5 things that are red in the room. What can you see? Or name A. And these kind of things will just help our brains to settle down, and if we're feeling a whole lot of emotion all at once.
But I heard a song this morning that just gave me peace and hope and comfort, and the words were just repeated over and over and over, and they were, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, it's gonna get better, God is in control.
There's hope in that, isn't there? I mean, right now it can be a little unnerving because there's no deadline for when this is over. But We don't have to have a deadline if we can trust that it's going to get better, that it is. There will come a day. This will pass. This too shall pass. How we're going to react when this is over and how valuable everything has become that is important, the relationships with people, the ability to come and go, the freedoms. And I think that, this has been a gift to kind of quiet us and have us focus on what is important.
A lesson from David that we don't always we can't act as if everything's okay. He cried out to God and said, why is this happening? How long will it happen? But he always ends up finding something to be thankful for and praising God for. And I guess that's a lesson to me, that don't dwell on what's going to happen in the future. Just trust that, just as a parent has to sometimes say to a child, I can't explain why I'm saying this, but it's just because I said so. And that's kind of the way I have to look at God and say, I don't understand this, but I trust you, and it's going to get better.
That none of this has been a surprise to our God, that this is something that for whatever reason is happening, and we don't know, but he does, and that we can still be confident in who he is, and trust him through this hard time.